I'm here to talk about my views on cultural differences between Korea and the US as a Korean American. Before I get into things, I want to say please don't take it seriously or personally because this is very opinionated. And let's dive right into it. First off, in terms of food, Korea is very different than the US. Korean foods are very diverse. They adapted the Western food and then change it into like their own style and fusion. And the typical Korean traditional dish, they have a lot of like side dishes, you know, it's called panchan. Like it's very colorful and then it takes up the whole desk. In terms of beauty, Korean foods manifest themselves in the form of beauty, harmonization, and care. In terms of beauty, Korean foods are very colorful. There's a lot of textures inside. For example, bibimbap, it's a mixture of meat, veggies, and rice all together. It's a solid mix, and on top of that, you put a red pepper paste. Depends on your spiciness preference. In terms of harmonization, I would say it's a traditional thing in Korea where people get together and make piles of kimchi. It takes hours and hours of hard work just to produce like 8 or 9 piles of kimchi. Because what they do is they sit down and toss over cabbage, just marinate with like a lot of ingredients and red pepper paste, a lot of ingredients. When it comes to food, people are very caring, genuinely friendly, warm-hearted. For example, whenever a newcomer moves into their like apartment complex, same town or village, they would give them bakdal, which is a Korean rice cake as a way to greet others. What I want to mention about Korean food is that a lot of places that they're open 24/7, they have delivery services 24/7. People with busy schedules, they don't have time to like get meals during the day. They would just quickly grab food from food truck or like street foods, or they would go to a convenience store to grab like a lunchbox. A lunchbox in Korea is very good quality. It's like very good on top quality wise. They literally have everything, like ranging from snacks to like the actual meal. It's like they don't like mess around with it. They try to make it like as real as possible. Whereas in America, stores are closed pretty early, like 9 to 10, 11 maybe. If you miss that hour, like just grab mac and cheese or cereal. Korean people are very fashionable. Not that American people are not fashionable, but what I realized when I got to Korea last summer, I felt so left out, you know. As a Korean American, you dress like American here. Just like simple shirts, khakis or like shorts, you know. Hairstyle, you just kind of like bring it up, you know. Just mess around with it, kind of, and use some put like gel or wax products on. Just simple as that. Whereas Korea, you know, even guys take hours and hours to blow dry their hair, or like dye their hair, you know, curl their hair, whatever. And skincare is like in Korea is another level, amazing. Unlike in America where people think tanning is like attractive. However, in Korea, people want to make their skins as white as possible, as pale as possible. Even guys put the makeup on their face. Crazy. It gets pretty intense. Just a lot of self-care. Korean fashion is there are many micro brands and small producers in Korea. Like for example, Dongdaemun is very commonly known place for cheaper clothing through bargaining. So if you go like Dongdaemun Sijang or Namdaemun Sijang, it's like a street market where there's a lot of street vendors selling cheap clothing through bargaining. You would see people bargaining all the time. It gets pretty intense, you know, push each other just kind of to get through their way. There are many like off-brand clothing in Korea. What producers would do, they would use the existing brands and use that as a reference, turn them into like pop art or vintage style. So that way they don't get sued for breaching a copyright. They have their own brand in a sense because you know there are no fake brands because there's no original brands to begin with. There's like a general picture to give you guys an insight of what the Korea like street looks like. Here's the picture up here. The lady like in my picture, I don't know her. It's meant to be there, I guess. And here's the picture of Namdaemun Sijang where there's a lot of street vendors. This is kind of random, but I just took a picture of Taco Bell in Korea. It's very modernized compared to American. Recently I found out that America's number 4 go-to restaurant is Taco Bell, and I was pretty surprised. You know. Korean education is quite different from the American education. I would say it's very heavily academic based, test score based when it comes to, you know, getting into university. Korean school starts in March, I would say, and then it goes year round. I mean, there's short breaks in between, but not as long as like America, where we have 3 months of summer off, basically. Besides the school curriculum, there are many after-school programs called Hagwon, after-school session in class for students who want to work ahead of school curriculum or catch up on their work if they're behind. Especially when you're in middle school, you would go to Hagwon a lot, and then by the time you get to high school, there's a after-school session where you have to stay at school until like 10 or 11. You won't get home until like midnight. Because Korean students spend more time in Hagwon than in school, they wouldn't be bothered to skip classes in school. It's like understandable to skip classes in school in a sense. Korean parents usually have high expectations of their child. You know, growing up, they want their child to be like doctors and lawyers. You might have heard of the term tiger parents. I mean, of course there are some exceptions, but Korean people in general, they're hardworking, patient, dedicated, you know, committed. The biggest difference between Korean students and the US students is that Korean students have the mindset that they want to be successful to please their parents. Sometimes they prioritize parents' decision over their decisions, but they should prioritize their decision first. Whereas in America, students have out there and try new things, get some hands-on experience, working experience, whether it be working, traveling, anything honestly, to find out what they really enjoy, really like, so they can have a better understanding of what they want to pursue in the future. Here's the picture of my elementary school in Korea. As you can see, classrooms are very stacked together, whereas American schools, their classrooms are like separated and there's like multiple buildings. I used to live really close to my elementary school. It was like 5-minute walk. Even though it was a 5-minute walk, I was like tardy every time. I was late. Gives you a false sense of security, I guess. That's all I have for today. If you think this was helpful, please drop a like, subscribe. I don't want this video to be just about Korean culture, or K-pop or whatever. But I do want to film a vlog, traveling vlog at some point. I'm just trying new things to see what best fits me. I'll keep you guys updated, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.